Hall of Fame games coming up in a few days, and the full season's right around the corner in more than a month. Not exactly real news as of late, so let's just get straight into it. Welcome back to Grizzly Talks Football. I'm the Grizz, and ladies and gentlemen, we have reached 100 episodes of Grizzly Talks Football. Oh my god. Claps all around. Claps all around. I gotta be real honest with y'all. I was not thinking that we were gonna come this far. I cannot believe that we've reached 100. You know, little bold me started last year, thinking I was gonna do a little bit of some, football analysis, do a little episode kind of series to, talk about stuff that's been going around the games, stuff to help prepare for the NFL season, all that stuff. Same with the NCAA. Little did I know that on July 28th, 2025, I would be making my 100th episode of Grizzly Talks Football, which is quite nuts. As for the 100th episode, we're actually going to review the division, standings for 2025 NFL season as far as my predictions go. We're also going to do NFL awards predictions. Sort of like what happened in the very first episode that this started with, which was the whole mega episode that took an hour. Hopefully it's not that long this time around. If you are somehow still looking for that playlist for Season 2, I'll make sure to keep that link in the description. Don't forget to check my playlist as well for Season 1 if you want to check out those first 60 episodes as well. You'll have those playlists for every single episode, so you're all caught up all the way up to, sort of the midway point to 2025, but we're kind of past that now. And you also have future episodes whenever they're posted. Of course, they included this one. Don't forget to hit the red subscribe button all the way down there. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos, and also helps the channel a lot. Make sure you do that because not a whole lot of you are subscribed to watch my videos, so make sure you hit that subscribe button for me, alright? Anyways, I don't want to delay this any further. Let's get to some division standing predictions for 2025. If you do start to notice, you know that I use playoff predictors to determine every team's schedule. However, I did make some changes to the divisions as to how I feel the season's going to go for each division. For the AFC North, Ravens, of course, they had the best team of every single one of those 4 teams in the division, so they're going to have first place. Second place, Bengals. They have one of the best offenses in the league. It's just a shame their defense can't match up to, a piece of toilet paper. Pittsburgh, their defense is very solid, one of the best, but their offense leaves more to be desired. But you can never count out Coach Tomlin when he's trying to get a winning record. And of course, you got the lowly Browns. QB controversy is a mess. Defense is still good, especially with Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, in addition of Mason Graham, and linebacker from UCLA that goes to the name of Schweizinger or something like that. Like Carson Schweizinger. I can't remember the actual name, but he's there too. Offense as a whole is just an absolute disaster. As for the AFC South, the Houston Texans are first place. They're pretty much about head and shoulders above everyone else in their division, but that's not saying much. It's going to be interesting to see what Jacksonville is going to do with Travis Hunter. Maybe he becomes a beast. Maybe he becomes a little bit underwhelming for his draft position. Why? From the looks of it, they have a very solid roster on both offense and defense, so I feel like they should be second place and not have that disaster of a season they had last year. And of course, we have the Indianapolis Colts with the QB duo of Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, pretty much the worst QB duo in the entire league. They have a solid defense, even though they lost quite a bit of players. Yeah, I just don't see Indianapolis going anywhere as long as their quarterbacks are AR5, who has 47% completion percentage, and Daniel Jones, who has struggled with the Giants pretty much his entire career. AFC East, I think we all know who runs this division right now. No offense to the other 3 teams, but the Bills are heads and shoulders, of course, once again above everybody else in their division, and it's not even close. New England does have the tools now, based on the offseason moves they've made, including getting Milton Williams, Robert Spillane, Harold Landry for their defense. The offense does leave more to be desired because of the weapons besides Stephon Diggs that Drake May has, but they do have Coach Mike Vrabel, which is a huge upgrade from Jerry Mayo. For the Dolphins, they're kind of the same team, except Maybe they're arguably worse. I'm not too sure how it's going to be, but they're not exactly good enough for the playoffs. And as for the Jets, well, I know Justin Fields is going over there, but let's be honest, he was pretty much sent there to die. Nothing good comes out of New York. Come on now, let's be real here. AFC West, unless any of the 3 teams below them can convince me otherwise, Kansas City is definitely projected to win their 10th straight division title in a row, which is pretty much quite unprecedented. Broncos will probably be the best of the 3 teams behind the Chiefs. They did some great roster building. Getting Trey Greenlaw, Evan Ingram on the offense, Talanoa Hufanga. Greenlaw and Hufanga from the 49ers should be good upgrades for the defense, for one that was already one of the best defenses in the league. And of course, Evan Ingram, great weapon for Bo Nix. Chargers, regular season, they don't do that bad. Justin Herbert was one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league. Martin Hampton should complement the Najee Harris signing. Defense without Joey Bosa does leave a little bit of a question mark in there, but maybe they could prove me wrong. And of course, you got the Las Vegas Raiders. I do not expect them to really make too much noise besides Ashton Genty, maybe Jack Beck, Jacoby Myers. Maybe Geno Smith can spark something in Las Vegas that he did in Seattle. Who knows? Moving on to the NFC, as for the North, I still think the Lions are going to control that NFC North. I know I picked the Packers for some stupid fucking reason to win that division, but I'm not making the same mistake twice. Lions will win the division, and of course the Bears with Caleb Williams, a much improved offense, should be able to get at least second in the NFC North. As far as the Vikings, J.J. McCarthy still leaves some question marks for me. Otherwise, this team is very well balanced. I would say this is probably the most rounded team besides Detroit in the entire division, maybe even the NFC. And of course, Green Bay, they probably have the worst roster of the bunch, but Matt LaFleur is a pretty decent good head coach, so I'll give them that. Jordan Love is like a top half QB in the league. Josh Jacobs, one of the best backs in the game. They finally got a receiver in the first round of Matthew Golden. Defense looks solid, but then Jair Alexander left. Could be some dark times coming in Green Bay. As for the NFC South, I think the first 2 are pretty obvious, the Bucs and Falcons. It's pretty much just a 2-horse race between the 2. Panthers or Saints are not there yet. Saints are tanking. Panthers have a rising star in Bryce Young, and they also got rookie Ted McMillan to throw to. It's just they don't have exactly a great defense besides Derek Brown and J.C. Horn. They did pick up Hunter Renfrow in the offseason along with, I think, Trayvon Mullen. But anyways, Falcons, they got one of the youngest teams out there. Drake London, Bijan Robinson, perhaps Michael Penix. Maybe the finally breakout season of Kyle Pitts. Not sure, but the main thing I'm excited for is the defense. Getting young stars, perhaps Jalen Walker and James Pierce. I heard James Pierce was looking good at practice, so that should be a good sign. Perhaps Nick Nash and Kobe Bryant could be some potential players to be on the final roster there, including Quincy Skinner as well at wide receiver. Especially with Darnell Mooney suffering an injury, I'm not sure if it's season ending or not. One of those 2, Skinner or Nash, will probably have to play well enough to secure a roster spot and be able to fill in at that wide receiver too. Oh yeah, and there's Ray McLeod. I almost forgot he existed, and Kadero Hodge. And then you got Tampa Bay, probably the best roster in the entire division, despite their head coach and Todd Bowles. Yeah, I still fucking hate him. Oh yeah, and by the way, Tampa Bay, Raheem Morris is still 2-0 against y'all. As a full-time head coach, not interim head coach. We don't talk about that one. But especially with the guys on offense like Baker Mayfield, Buck Irvin, Mike Evans, returning Chris Godwin, perhaps Amika Ibuka, an offensive line that's like one of the best in the league. And you also got a defense with Antoine Winfield, a very nice but old Levante David, Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey on the defensive line. You can't go wrong with this team in the NFC. I think we slightly overrate Tampa Bay because of the head coach. Still better than the 3 teams below them. Moving on to the East. Eagles, of course, going to take the NFC East crown again for the first time in the NFC East for a long time. We'll probably have a back-to-back division winner. Washington has proven they can hang with the best, and perhaps they could be on a run with Jaden Daniels potentially being an MVP candidate, maybe even Offensive Player of the Year. Dallas, Jerry Jones, oh boy, yeah, y'all are cooked. Still haven't played Micah Parsons. Dak Prescott got paid A+ quarterback money, even though I do believe he is a top half QB, he's not exactly elite. Too injury prone, had 2 season-ending injuries in his entire career. I wouldn't be surprised if, he becomes a starter for like a lowly team and maybe even leads him to a winning record. Who knows? And of course the Giants, most brutal schedule in the league. Unfortunately, the worst roster in the division also definitely doesn't help with that schedule though. Forgot to mention about the other 3 teams. I don't think it's worth mentioning. As far as the Eagles, one of the best rosters in the entire league. Quarterback Jalen Hurts, running back Saquon Barkley, wide receivers A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You also got Dallas Goedert, tight end. Probably the best offensive line in the league. Defense definitely took a step back. Darius Slay, Milton Williams leaving. Brandon Graham actually retiring. So a couple hits on the defense, but they still have guys like Zach Bond, Jalen Carter, hopefully Jordan Williams. Maybe some of the other linebackers like Nakobe Dean. I think Jalen Walker, or no, that was Jalen Walker for Atlanta. A couple of other Georgia players out there. Also Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell as the secondary, and Reed Blankenship. For Washington, of course, you have Jaden Daniels at quarterback. You also got wide receiver Terry McLaurin. De'Ami Brown left. So you got Brian Robinson out there also at running back. Tight end Zach Ertz still doing great at his age. Upgrading the offensive line with Laramie Tunsil, which is actually a very solid upgrade if you think about it. Defense does suck that Jonathan Allen decided to leave. I think Jonathan Green left as well. Leaving Deron Payne is the only very well noticed guy on the defensive line. But they do have Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner as your linebackers, which is a really good combination. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about Dante Fowler, who had some good season in Washington. Secondary has always been the biggest issue with Washington. Maybe that could improve this upcoming season. As far as Dallas, they got talent. They got Dak. They got, oh boy, running back room got completely shaken up with Javonte Williams and I guess Alfred Blue. Wide receiver core is not that bad. Jalen Tolbert, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb. You also got return specialist Kavontae Turpin. That's looking like one of the best returners in the league. Jake Ferguson at tight end. The Great Wall of Tyler, as we like to call the offensive line. Micah Parsons, once he gets paid. You also got DeRon Bland. I think Trayvon Diggs is still on that team. Donovan Smith. You also got Donovan Ezraouike or something like that in Boston College. Ezraku. Sorry for butchering his name. They got some studs. It's just the coaching staff is complete dog shit. You got Brian Schottenheimer's the head coach. Defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. And there was a guy I hadn't even heard of as the offensive coordinator that was leading the Cardinals' offensive line or something like that. One of the worst offensive lines in the entire league with him at the helm. As far as the Giants, they got Russell Wilson, running back duo of Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scadaboo. Malik Neighbors is really the only standout receiver on that Giants receiving core. Decent but injured offensive line. Defensively, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, just to name a few. Maybe the Giants can spark some things, but their schedule's not going to help them whatsoever. And finally, for the NFC West, we got the Rams in first place. One of the best coach in the division, maybe one of the best in the league, Coach Sean McVay. Quarterback Matt Stafford, who's still a top 10 QB to this day. Running back Kyron Williams, who's become a beast. Wide receivers, you got Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. That duo's going to be nasty. Offensive line definitely took a hit with one of their players leaving for Chicago. I think it was Jonah Jackson. Defensively, Brandon Fisk, Jared Verse. Some players also left. You got the Cams at the safeties. Of course, I'm talking about Cam Curl and Cam Kitchens. This team has weapons everywhere. San Francisco, you got Brock Purdy, who's a top half QB. Christian McCaffrey, hopefully he stays healthy. Wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, perhaps Jawan Jennings or Ricky Pearsall. Jawan Jennings proved himself to be a very good receiver. George Kittle at tight end. One of the best rosters in the entire division. Is just, injuries completely screwed them last year. There's only so much you can do if your name is Kyle Shanahan. You can't control injuries at all. Of course, on defense, you got Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, the best middle linebacker in the league. Argue with a wall, please. I think Charles Lenoir is a solid corner. I'm not exactly too sure, but their defense definitely took a couple hits as far as linebackers and defensive backs go. Oh, I forgot to mention, Deebo Samuel's gone. He went to Washington. And I think 49ers will take second, though, ahead of the Seahawks, who I believe will be third. Recently picked up Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp this offseason, along with having a running back duo of Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Jackson Smith-Njigba still out there. Noah Fant was actually released by the team recently. You know, I thought he was actually a pretty decent tight end. It was just he wasn't actually given the same amount of love as Jackson Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp. Now, after that free agency move. Defensively, I mean, Leonard Williams, Tariq Woolen. Not exactly sure what DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, that defense does have some weapons, and they're entering their second year with Mike McDonald as a head coach. Or Mike McDaniel as the head coach. I can't remember what his name is. I can't tell with all the Mikes in the league. But I feel like he could have another decent season with Sam Darnold, who's now a Pro Bowl QB. And, of course, the Cardinals are dead last in the conference. James Conner, a great player. Marvin Harrison has potential. Trey McBride turned into one of the best tight ends in the league. Defense severely underrated. I think Zach Allen is on that defense, or maybe he isn't. I'm not exactly sure how that ended up. I mean, Will Johnson could be an immediate impact player for Arizona, especially as a second rounder. Walter Nolan was a first-round rookie that could fill in for the defensive needs. It's just I need to know more before I can make a judgment about how good actually the Cardinals can be. And that's going to be it for all the division predictions for 2025 as of today, July 28, 2025, at the time this video is going to more than likely be published. And now it's time for my NFL awards predictions. Of course, I'm looking at CBS Sports dark horses for most valuable player, but here are going to be my predictions on who actually will win each NFL award. But first, let's talk about some little custom awards. Shout out to Wyattzworld for some ideas, and I also had a little bit of ideas on my own as well. First off, Bust of the Year. A little interesting, but I'm going to go with the New York Jets first round pick, Armand Membu, as the pick for the Bust of the Year. Guy came out of nowhere at the top of people's draft boards as far as drafted an offensive tackle. Luckily, he was not the first offensive line selected. That would have been a near disaster for New England. But the Jets got the unfortunate news of drafting him. The offensive tackle out of Missouri, I do not believe deserved all the hype that he had as an offensive tackle. And I think he will definitely struggle with the Jets. Especially since, well, they're the Jets. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not going to be putting images on players now. It's just a storage issue. Because Apple keeps lying to everybody. Anyways, let's move on. Most improved team? Yeah, it's most definitely the New England Patriots. New coach, a lot of great offseason acquisitions. I think this team is going to take a major step forward from one of the bottom feeders of the league. Well, to a potential playoff contender. Enough said. I know the Raiders are definitely a contender as well, but I think the Patriots are going to prove a lot more than the Raiders are. Mainly because of the fact that they're the Raiders. Player most likely to break out. This is a little interesting. I'm not including Aiden Hutchinson because he was a beast before he got injured. I remember when I was making my hot takes for each division, I said Jalen McMillan was actually going to have an expanded role with the Bucs. But now that I look at it, after Mike Williams' sudden retirement, I think Quentin Johnston is going to prove to the Chargers, you should have never bumped me down the Jet chart in the first place. I mean, when you take a look at his first season and his second season, in his rookie season, he dropped the ball quite a bunch of times as a first-round pick. But then in 2024, he actually improved quite significantly. He started getting more catches. He started getting more, targets. I mean, he's starting to become one of the best receivers. It's just he's being overshadowed by Lat McConkey. But trust me, if Lat McConkey goes down with injury, do not be surprised. And I mean this, do not be surprised if Quentin Johnston goes off for like 1,100 yards and maybe 10 touchdowns. Now on to the actual awards. Well, first off, I have a little award that I made. Best Contract Year Player. This goes for every player who is on their final year of their contract in their last chance to impress the team enough for them to sign them to a pretty nice contract. I think my top 3 are Zion Johnson of the Chargers, Kyle Pitts of the Atlanta Falcons, and Mark Andrews of the Baltimore Ravens. I know you're wondering, wait a minute, Mark Andrews' contract is expiring? I say yes it is. Unfortunately, because Isaiah Likely is looking like John Harbaugh is trying to sign instead of Mark Andrews, despite the fact that Mark Andrews has been a top 3, maybe top 4 tight end in the entire league the past couple years. I mean, I get it. He disappears in the games that are most important, but can you really put the blame all on him when Lamar Jackson turns the ball over too and chokes in the playoffs? Which is why I actually do not think he's going to have the best breakout year as far as the contract year player. That is actually going to go to my guy in Atlanta, Kyle Pitts. This is his contract year. He had a great rookie season. Unfortunately, after Matt Ryan left, we had that whole quarterback hellhole that we were on. We had guys like Marcus Mariota, Taylor Heineke, Desmond Ridder. I mean, come on. It was the coach's fault as far as that. Kirk Cousins as well. But now he's got Michael Penix, who has been developing quite a great connection with him in training camp. So, to say that he'll probably get a much better season than the past 3 years combined, I think would be a massive understatement. Remember that pro level tight end level that he was at in his rookie year? He might even do better than that. But I guess we'll just wait and see. Now on to the actual awards. First up, the Comeback Player of the Year. It's straight up Aiden Hutchinson and nobody else. Well, I guess second place could be Dak Prescott, but Aiden Hutchinson was a monster before he had a season-ending injury, I believe, against Dallas, just this past season. When he does in fact return at the beginning of the season, I think he is going to not only be one of the better defenders in the league, maybe even be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate with Detroit. You thought you'd seen everything about him last year before he got injured. Wait till you'll see what happens in 2025. I mean, with a new coordinator, I mean, it could either completely fall apart or it could be even better than it was before with Aaron Glenn. Once again, we just gotta wait and see what happens. Up next, Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel. My top 3 would honestly be Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll, and perhaps Dave Canales. Canales will be my sleeper pick for Coach of the Year because I gotta be honest, his coaching actually wasn't even that bad when Bryce Young returned. I mean, Bryce Young was balling out after he came back from his benching. So a lot of positivity can be taken away for you for Carolina here. But it's really between Pete Carroll and Mike Vrabel. Maybe even Kevin O'Connell runs it back. But ultimately, my first place pick is probably going to be Mr. Mike Vrabel of the New England Patriots. Next up, we got Rookies of the Year. First up, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Of all the years to determining defensive and offensive rating years, this might be probably one of the hardest years in recent memory. I mean, there were a ton of defenders that were absolutely incredible this past season, or at least incredible athletes in that draft. So this one's going to be a little bit interesting. It's really going to come down to those who are going to be impactful starters right out of the gate, and they're actually going to be game wreckers like they were intended to be when the teams drafted them. Which is why I think Travis Hunter is actually going to get Defensive Rookie of the Year from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He plays both sides. I think he is mostly going to be a cornerback too because there are some pretty solid receivers out there. So Travis Hunter might not play as much at the wide receiver position as opposed to the cornerback position. Duke Carter could be a good choice as well, along with Mason Graham. But right now, I'm leaning towards Travis Hunter. My boy, Travis Hunter from Collins Hill. Let's get it, my man. As far as the other side of the ball, Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm actually going to go with Ashton Jeanty. I do not believe it's going to be going to a quarterback this year because The amount of starting quarterbacks for this class is actually only one starter, Cam Ward. I think he's going to have an okay rookie season, but nothing too spectacular because the Titans had the worst record in the entire league last year. As far as Ejigbo, he's an immediate starting running back, and coming off his unbelievable college football season in 2024, went to the draft, became Boise State's highest draft pick at 6 by the Raiders, and the fact that he is going into a team that had the worst run game in the league last year, he's going to more than likely completely improve that rushing game for the Raiders. He's going to be a big complement to the pass attack that the Raiders are probably going to have with Geno Smith, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, and Jack Beck. But that's not to say he's going to score quite a bit of touchdowns. My prediction is actually 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns for Genty. And I got to be honest, I think that might be a little bit of an understatement. Let's see how his first season with the Raiders goes. Got the rookies out of the way, let's move on to offensive and defensive players of the year. For defense, I'm actually going to go Myles Garrett for the Browns. Pat Surtain had an impressive season last year. He had a great season on the #1 defense in the league. But as far as individual outstanding defensive talent, 3 names come to mind, including Pat Surtain. Myles Garrett, J.J. Watt, and oh boy, that is say J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt. And perhaps one of the Bucs, perhaps Antoine Winfield. Had a great rookie season, but then didn't do as well in the next 4 seasons. But I think he may have a bounce back here, perhaps this year. But I'm going to give this one to Myles Garrett because he has been carrying the Browns defense since forever, ever since he got drafted. Sometimes Denzel Ward shows up from time to time, but with the help of Mason Graham to take pressure off him, he could go off for more than 20 sacks. Who knows? As far as offensive player of the year, it's going to go to perhaps a wide receiver this time. After winning the Triple Crown this past season, I think Ja'Marr Chase is going to come second in offensive player of the year because the actual offensive player of the year I got is my man on the Rams. Yep, I think Puka Nacua is actually going to break out as a wide receiver 1 and win that offensive player of the year. If you combine every single one of the games that Puka Nacua played, including his rookie season, that guy has turned into one of the best receivers in the league, and no one can even dispute that. 5th round rookie by the Rams, was an offensive rookie of the year candidate, probably should have won it over C.J. Stroud. But then, 2024, of course, he got injured, I think, early, and he came back a couple games later and actually did play amazingly. Even though the stats don't look like it, he did play very, very well when he played. And I think he's going to take the next step and become an offensive player of the year, perhaps a regular for the award. And then finally, we got the MVP. Ooh, 2 names coming to mind, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Don't you dare forget about Joe Burrow. You mean the guy that I had #1 in my QB rankings? He's up there too. My actual MVP is actually going to be, of course, Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen will more likely be second. Joe Burrow, I would think, would be third. But I think Lamar Jackson became a dual threat ever since he got drafted. And boy, does he do good delivering that promise. Actually, me saying that is a massive understatement. I mean, he's like one of the kings of dual threat quarterbacks. If he can turn into his prime 2019 Lamar Jackson form, I mean, he could be a shoo-in for a unanimous MVP. But as far as how many talented quarterbacks there are out there, since the MVP is a QB award right now, this is going to have to be our best bet here. And that's going to be all for all the NFL awards. And the award predictions mean this is the end of the 100th episode of Grizzly Talks Football. If you did enjoy, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. This is the Grizz signing off for now, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace, love, keep the Grizzly vibes with you at all times. Take care, people.